What if I told you that right smack dab in the middle of summer blockbuster season, your Toy Stories, your Minions, The Odyssey, and Spider Man on the horizon? What if I told you that in the middle of all that, those large tentpole films, there was a little gem, a little indie movie that is actually one of the best films of the year? Great counter programming. It's something that I think is must see in theaters right now. It's a film that's about to go wide. It's Olivia Wilde's The Invite. Welcome back to Archer Vision, presented by MovieArcher.com and the Movie Archer Podcast Network. I'm Nico, and yes, today we are talking about The Invite, directed by Olivia Wilde. This is actually a remake of a 2020 Spanish film called The People Upstairs, directed by Cesc Gay. The screenplay was written by Will McCormick and Rashida Jones, and doing double duty here, also in front of the camera, is Olivia Wilde starring alongside Seth Rogen, Penelope Cruz, and Edward Norton. The film follows a longtime married couple played by Rogen and Wilde, whose relationship is in a bit of a shaky place, so they decide to shake things up by inviting their very eccentric upstairs neighbors played by Cruz and Norton. And when they have them over for a dinner party, things get rather interesting. An evening that is ultra comedic and very awkward slowly turns into something surprisingly emotional and very deep. To me, this is Olivia Wilde's best directed film, hands down, her magnum opus, if you will, of her three. And I love everything she's done, but what impressed me the most is coming off a movie like Don't Worry Darling, where she did this incredible world building. That movie was very large in scale, a lot of twists and turns, a lot of shock value. She scales down to something very small, very intimate, in a story that really operates like a film stage play. Her direction in this film is so dynamic, it's so razor sharp. There's such a creative energy that's going along with it, both with the camera and the actors, because they're all taking place in this one place, one apartment. The way the camera changes from room to room, going inside and outside, seeing characters walk between windows, rooms in the house, the way she frames certain scenes, the creativity of her shot selection, showing characters talking to each other through their reflections and mirrors, also the blocking of actors in scenes, great use of space, actors being in close proximity to each other to create this like claustrophobic, awkward, comedic environment. It is really well done. You could tell she's in full command of the set and full command of this production. Every single aspect of this movie feels like it's in perfect lockstep with each other. They're moving at a great pace together. And what I mean by that is, like, the pace of the movie is very good and never drags. It's never boring, but it feels like everyone is moving together. The camera, the actors, the way they're moving in the space, the dialogue, the very clever screenplay that we're going to talk about, the camera movement, the score, it's all moving so beautifully. Every scene feels like it's perfectly timed and has this perfect beginning, middle, and end. The performances. This is my favorite ensemble of the year. It's just these four. It's just this quartet, but they are pitch perfect. It's even hard for me to pick my favorite one or a standout because they are all so brilliant. They all have their moments interacting together, each of our individual couples, but then they break off in these different pairs together. And then each character has a moment where they really have time to give something to the audience, talk about one of the themes, dive deeper into the character. And that's where the emotion, that's where the messaging of the movie comes out. But if I had to pick a favorite, I come back to Wilde, who I still think might be the standout to me. It's a great performance. And in fact, she has a greater performance coming out in a couple weeks. What a summer for Olivia Wilde. I would say Rogen, this might be the best thing he's ever done, especially the places of vulnerability and depth he has to go. Edward Norton is really fun, silly, comedic, but then he has one of the most emotional moments of the movies at the end that kind of brings one of the massive themes home. And then Penelope Cruz is just dynamite the whole time. So I love this ensemble. They should get a SAG Ensemble nomination, I hope, because these four are just pitch perfect in unison, and they nail every ounce of this thing. This screenplay, my God, it's perfect. McCormick and Jones, fire, as the kids say, fuego. The comedy is great. 10 out of 10 for me. It's probably the funniest movie of the year, of the movies that I've seen so far. And then it moves into this place of incredible depth, and it gets deeper. Like I said earlier, it's this comedic, awkward night that turns into something really important and really beautiful, what the movie says about relationships. And there's this idea in the movie of one recognizing when a relationship may be over, or recognizing when it might be time to start your relationship again, meaning find new things in your lowest moments to try to strengthen, rekindle, and keep the connection going over time. With the concept of two people being in a relationship and keeping that connection going, it also explores and has the characters look inward. What do they individually need to explore or to feel more validated and fulfilled and to discover in themselves, to be able to strengthen themselves in their own relationship and be able to answer the question of, is it over or do we keep it going together? And how do you continuously create a new normal for yourself and your partner? The movie is also very sex positive. I don't want to get into spoilers about where that comes from, but it's sex positive in a way where it kind of encourages curiosity and exploration in a sexual way, in an intimate way between couples, and trying to find different interests and things that people like, but also different places of vulnerability and different places of freedom. A lot of people argue that, when people are engaging in intimate moments, that is where they are the most free, the most human, the most vulnerable. All this culminates into an absolutely beautiful ending. It's been a year of beautiful endings in film, in my opinion, where they give you this really emotional, fulfilling moment, and then they also let the audience decide where it goes from here. And I think it's a perfect little bow, a perfect little mic drop to leave this thing on. And I want to credit the screenplay for that. I want to credit the actors who are present in the last scene for it. But most of all, I want to credit Olivia Wilde's direction for how she chooses to execute this final moment and leave you with something very, very stunning to close the movie out. And I think what I appreciate about this movie the most is, in a day and age where it's so easy to compare ourselves, your individual life or your relationship to others, online, social media, people around you, right? It's so easy in this age of, ultra expression where it feels like every single person is performing for this thing all the time, to get lost in that, to lose yourself, to lose the spark in your relationship. So I think this movie encourages you to look inward, to ask the question, where are we at? And then to challenge you, is this something you're willing to invest in more or not? And I think what the movie ultimately tries to say at the end is, there's always time to start anew. There's always time to try again. Ultimately, it just comes down to, is that a choice you're willing to make? And I think that's a great question that everybody should ask themselves for a lot of things in life, not just your relationship. Fantastic score, too. Forgot to talk about that. Complements the movie beautifully, especially the visual language of the film. Yeah, great. Chef's kiss. I saw this movie back in May and I gave it a 9 out of 10, and I want to stay there, but I have such an urge to bring it up to 9.5. I actually haven't seen it a second time, but it's a movie I've thought about since, and it's the movie, I said this about Twinless last year, it's the number one movie that as soon as I saw it, I said I'm going to be recommending this to every single person I know, because I think every single person will enjoy this movie, especially if you like movies. So I'm going to actually say, I might say 9.5. Let's say 9.5 out of 10. It's grown because I was eagerly awaiting the day where I get to make this longer in-depth review 2.5 months later. So The Invite, 9.5 out of 10. I think this is must see. And if you're not looking to see one of these big summer tentpoles, if you're just looking to have a nice intimate night at the movies, go see The Invite, directed by Olivia Wilde.